I'm Jeff Kleinman, the editor-in-chief of BevNet, here at our Livestream lounge with Carol Ortenberg, our Project Nosh editor, and Rita Keskinyan.
Well said, thank you.
From Rabobank, where she's a managing director and oversees global beverage M&A. Is that right?
I oversee North America non-alcoholic beverage M&A.
Well, North America is indeed global.
Global. So I do work very closely with other colleagues in Europe, though.
Okay. Now, one thing that we talked about before coming on was if you could share some of your thoughts about what you see in terms of innovation in beverage here and how it reflects, given Rabobank's global profile, how it reflects when you're abroad, and what the market is for that kind of thing.
Right. I think globally speaking, the market, especially in Europe, looks at the US as the center of innovation. So the US is what leads innovative product introductions. The Europeans have always felt that they lead in efficiency, production capability, innovative technology, but from a product and a consumer awareness point of view and consumer-facing point of view, it's the US that leads. So the US introduces, and everybody else then starts converting that into the global brand strategies.
Now, does that lead to US products doing better abroad, or does it lead to a lot of copycat from...
No, I think it's fair to say that the US products eventually do go abroad in a very big way, and it's not just Europe, of course, now it's the Far East as well. You have seen China looking at the US market in a much deeper way, a number of the other Far East players doing the same. So the US will send its product and its introductions into the foreign countries, and that's how it progresses.
So one more question in this series then. How are the strategics that you're dealing with factoring in international scalability for innovative US beverage companies?
I think most of the internationals look at the US market first on its own standing, and the US market is considered across the board in consumer food and beverage as the market that is showing probably the healthiest growth levels. So first order of business is US, and then second order of business is upon maturity, they feel that they can take some of those products into their own markets. So the Chinese, as an example, in general terms across the board have now said, we don't immediately have to take each and every product to China. We will invest for the US's sake, and then we will see how we translate it into the Chinese market.
But they're willing to invest pre-ubiquity in the US.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Absolutely.
So as long as there's something on the table domestically, it doesn't necessarily have to scale internationally.
Correct.
Okay. Carol?
Oh, I just was curious. I had seen some wonderful announcements around a new innovation award, in part with MIT, and some of our readers just wanted to learn more about that.
So that's now been going on for 5 years. We have had the Innovative Company Awards that were established 5 years ago. It started looking at the larger businesses, some of the larger businesses. I'll give you just one example. Chobani, not a beverage company, a yogurt company. But Chobani was one of the initial awardees. We have now taken that to its next phase, which is emerging companies, emerging technologies, innovation at the roots, and that's the teaming up with MIT. And this is to enhance, if you will, attention to innovation, to help students come up with innovative food and beverage ideas, to look at the entire value chain, and to identify where innovation can be played the best. So the MIT relationship is new, but the concept has been around for a few years, and it is the CEO of the Americas that has been sort of the proponent of this entire approach. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. And just in that regard, unrelated to everybody here, but everybody thinks Rabobank is this huge, monstrous organization, which of course we're quite large, we're global.
Well, no one says monstrous.
Monstrous. We're monstrous, we're big, we're very well established, very global, and we are a cooperative, which is very unique. So in the context of innovation across the board in our business, which is food and beverage, we just announced a reassessment, reorganization of our entire cooperative structure. So we are innovating ourselves from the roots up in the organization itself. So that is a little bit in that innovation vein.
I wanted to ask you about the current state of the market in terms of deal making. Just how heavy is competition for fast-growing entrepreneurial brands?
Look, I think competition is quite prolific. Investors are quite focused on being able to identify the eventually surviving brands and businesses. I think it is, as you see a lot of graduation out of corporates through their executives into this new marketplace and the innovative marketplace, I think a lot of people are going to end up competing for a lot of the businesses that we're seeing here. That's the sense we have.
Now, this year, though, it seemed like
The big boys.
a lot more VC and then a lot more kind of larger companies pulling off chunks of other large companies.
I think there was a lot of realignment this year that went on, and we believe that there will continue to be meaningful realignment in the large corporate world in food and beverage. Look, I mean, you woke up to one big deal this morning happening.
Certainly.
Yeah. That was a realignment. AB InBev is certainly a potential realignment despite all of the noise around it currently, let's say. Having said that, I think it's important to also remember that all those realignments will yield opportunity for the marketplace. There are going to be pieces that are going to be recut, and as a result, those smaller businesses are going to become the deal support, if you will. So you'll see not just the big deals, but other deals coming out of those big deals.
We just have a little bit more time, so I wanted to ask you, how long do you think it takes before that shuffles down to the emerging beverage, entrepreneurial beverage community?
Meaning?
Those realignments. Does that create magnetic pulls for M&A? Or does it spur innovation within the companies?
I think what we are seeing is the big companies are actually, in fact, re-innovating themselves, but it's really not innovation. It's really repositioning, recharacterizing their own brands and their own products, but they're looking at the new world and the innovative world to get the ideas. So there'll be a little bit of pull and push on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. There's pull and push between consumer buy-in as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rita, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
having
us.
me.